You know, the big bushy beard.
Yeah. The bear.
Uh-huh.
He wears plaid too?
I don't.
Is he a lumbersexual?
He's heterosexual.
He's a lumbersexual.
Yeah. We'll ask him.
Attention shoppers. Deadcast Top 5 in 5, 4, 3, 2.
All right, it's Deadcast Top 5 this week. It's our top 5 highlights for Season 5, Episode 10, Them. What did you guys think in general?
It was a good episode. It was, I rate harder than most people. I would probably give it like a 3 stars. Following the Netflix, I liked it, and that was it. It was.
How does that go? Hated it?
Didn't like it.
Liked it. Loved it.
Really liked it, and then loved
it. That's right.
So probably around 3 stars, and it was spare. I mean, like, it was a pretty spare kind of episode. So there's not that there's not much to talk about, but you have to talk more about each aspect of that episode.
I don't know what you mean, but there was less dialogue.
There was less dialogue. There was less action. There was less.
There was more mulling on each moment.
Right.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Which I liked, actually. I thought it worked well. The pacing was slow, but to me, slow doesn't equal boring. So what'd you think?
Well, did we mention why we thought it was called Them?
We did before, but then it got recorded over. So why do you think it was called Them?
So at first I thought it referred to Beth and Tyrese, who are
the dead people. And maybe Bob. So them, those that are no longer here. Mourning them was a big part of the episode. But then I thought it referred to Aaron's group, the guy at the very end. Them meaning the group this big unknown group, them. And then I read somewhere where somebody said that it referred to the point where Rick said, "We are the Walking Dead," and Daryl responded, "We ain't them." Yeah, I think that's probably it. I don't think it's Aaron's group because that was more of a lead into next episode, Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe that's sort of like, oh yeah, whoever named it was like, oh, it could be them too. But I doubt that's the main thing. But yeah, I think you're right. He said, we ain't them. So it's just about the Walking Dead. That's what them is. Them is the Walking Dead.
Right. I love the episode, by the way. I thought it was great. I gave it a 4.8 out of 5. Brains.
That's really high.
I thought it was a wonderful episode. I thought great writing, great acting. I thought that there were all kinds of really interesting elements, including the fact that their physical condition was very, very dire, which kind of mirrored their mental state. They're going through a really hard time right now. It's a really low point. And then the rain came. And I love that they even included a mystery, the possible villain, maybe a possible savior. I thought it was great. It was really my kind of episode. It had a little bit of everything.
Yeah. It was kind of different than any other episode, I thought, that we've seen. I mean, we've seen them on the road before, but never so deflated.
Yeah. And
like this.
It's kind of great that they're finding new energy and new territory in sort of the same thing. We've seen them walking before.
Creatively?
Yeah, creatively. Yeah. The writers
agree.
I think they're still finding new things to mine out of this. So I loved it. I also love the theme of surviving when giving up is so easy. I've said this before, but surviving is really, really hard sometimes. The world is hard. And it's wonderful when you can find the bits of beauty that make it worthwhile. And I thought it was really moving in different points in this episode, and I'll talk about those later.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I like this episode a lot. I would give it like a 4.6 gax.
That's a strong rating.
I think about how the show used to be, and especially I'm pretty hard on the first few episodes, the first half of season 2. And I think about that while I'm watching it now, and I'm like, this is such a better show now, in my opinion. I don't know, maybe if I went back and watched it again, I'd change my mind, but it just feels much more artfully done. And it used to be very soap opera-ish, and I always appreciate the show when they do have long segments of no dialogue.
Yeah.
But the dialogue is much better now when they do have it, for the most part, I think.
And even when they don't have a lot of yakety yak, 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 sometimes it's because the shots that they're showing are astonishing. And I actually pulled that out from my top 5. I'll talk about that in a little while. No dialogue, but the shot itself is incredible.
Uh-huh. I also thought this episode was going to be really depressing because they've undergone such tragedy lately, and I have an idea of what's coming up, so I kind of thought, okay, this is going to be their hit bottom episode, and it really was, but it wasn't that depressing to me. I mean, there were some, really sad elements to it, but, I was sort of thinking, okay, this is going to be a really low episode that's going to be necessary, but it turned out it was a low episode that was really entertaining in and of itself, I thought.
I completely agree.
So, all right. Let's get into our top 5. You're the guest of honor. You go first.
All right. Number 5, the weather. I was really impressed by the weather. They did a very good job in making it seem the oppressive heat.
Yes.
Plus the oppressive mental situation of everybody involved, matched very well. And then when the storms came, I like storms. So it was just a lot of fun to see, the weather wreaking havoc everywhere and being pretty much a part of the story, which I thought was pretty sexy.
I totally agree with you. That's something that we're dealing with here in California. It's actually it's my number 4 is the drought. I mean, honestly, they were kind of going through a little bit of a drought. They don't have any water storage other than the bottles that they carry with them. And they rely on rainfall, and they rely on creeks and streams and things like that. So in periods when they're not having a lot of rain and the creeks and streams are dried up, what are they going to do? Where are they going to get water from? They were probably days away from maybe dying. Mm-hmm. And it was dire. Mm-hmm. They were looking really dehydrated, and it was not great.
They were looking, so weak. They did such a great job of looking weak and hungry and tired.
Yep, 3 weeks since Atlanta.
We're not used to seeing them like that.
No, they were defeated looking.
And dirty.
And even the point where the horde of zombies was coming and they've got to fight them. They were like, let's just push them off into the ravine.
They're like karate kidding it, or like Aikido moves.
Yeah, they're just
use the zombies' energy against them. I really like the weather too, especially the storms. I even got some storm sounds. This is from the episode. It's fascinating, isn't it? Just kidding. But it is from the episode.
We like rainfall out here in California. We miss it, quite frankly.
Oh, yes. I mean, give us enough rain that trees fall. We're happy. I mean, I lived in LA during a drought, and then one day there was a huge rainfall and a tree fell, and I feel sorry for the girl whose car it was, but I remember just being like, look at that awesome, crushed car under a tree. That's how much rain we got. Yes.
Did you ever see my crushed car?
Oh yeah, your car was crushed too.
My car was crushed, and I drove it after that.
I'm sorry. Did I offend you?
No, I have. It was a point of pride driving that.
When I saw this,
my crushed car.
I think that's how you made lemons out of lemonade.
Thanks, hon.
The other way around.
I made lemonade out of my lemon.
Right?
Yeah.
But totally so Karen's tree fell on your car.
It was an oak tree. Mm-hmm.
Did your car need fixing, or did it just run fine?
It ran fine.
Just ran fine. But there were little dents all over it.
Every panel.
Which, when you looked at it, it was like, oh, you got a dent. Wait, there's a dent here and on the other. What the hell happened?
And I ended up getting so many questions about it. I ended up getting a bumper sticker that said,
fuck off.
No, well, kind of. It said it was a tree, and no, I don't want you to fix it. Which answered all the questions.
You had that custom made, or do they have those?
Yeah. Somebody asked me that. I was like, yeah, I bought it at a 7-Eleven. No, of course I had it custom made.
What's your number 5?
My number 5 was, actually, I'm going to make the drought my number 5, because since we're talking about it, and the drought weighs heavy on my mind because my profession is water conservation specialist. I live in California, and we're looking at the possibility of the 4th consecutive year drought. And so when it started raining, I actually kind of cried. I really did. And I love that moment when it starts raining and everyone's happy and they're holding their arms out, they're sticking their tongues out, except for, Sasha, Maggie, Daryl, and
the sad sacks.
Father Gabriel. And he apologizes to God. He was probably in his head going, thanks for the drought, God. But then he apologizes. He's kind of
I love that moment with him That was one of my favorite moments. It wasn't my favorite, but it was one of my favorites in the episode. He just started crying and said, "I'm sorry, God." And it just sort of highlights, okay, this is kind of thing could be considered an act of God, which I'm sure Gabriel did. Yeah. And I think he thought, his first thought was, oh, wow, he gave me this great thing and I totally don't deserve it, which made him just remind him of his guilt to apologize again.
Right. I'm sorry, God.
Killing all those people. Okay. Anything else?
No, that's
okay.
it.
Mine, well, this is a tragic episode. Well, it's not a tragic episode, but you know, they've just undergone all this tragedy. They lost their home at the prison. They lost several friends, Bob, Tyrese, Beth, and they're on the road. They're hungry. They're tired. So I'm going to talk about the sad sacks that you just mentioned that were handling this tragedy not so well, because some handled it better than others. But the ones that handled it that were the most depressed were Maggie, Sasha, and Daryl.
Yep.
Maggie, the episode opened on her. She just looked so depressed.
Yes.
And that zombie came along. And it almost seemed to me like she's like, he might eat me. I don't know if I can muster the care to save myself right now. And then she saw the zombie in the trunk.
Oh,
and,
so sad.
Yeah, and just bound and gagged, which is just messed up no matter how that happened.
With big blue eyes, too.
Save me. And she closed the trunk, which I found to be sort of like, oh, I don't even care enough to put this poor soul out of her misery. And then she decided to open the trunk. I think we were supposed to wonder, is she opening the trunk because she decided to go ahead and put the zombie out of its misery, which I think is what Glenn thinks, because Glenn opens the trunk. But I think she was going to get inside the trunk with the zombie.
What? No, she wasn't that far gone.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't interpret it differently, but I, felt a connection to her when she was crying and that zombie was coming up behind her, because it just reminded me of sometimes when I was really depressed in some points in my life and I was at work and I was like crying, and then like someone would knock and say like, "Oh, please, can you come sign this paper?" And I'll just be like, okay. And then, dry my tears, open the door, have a smile, sign the papers, talk to someone, arrange that meeting. All right, close the door.
Start crying.
Resume crying.
All right, okay, get up, kill the zombie.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to go back and feel sorry for myself.
See, she's talking, the whole time about, or she just looks suicidal to me, and whether she should go on, and Glenn's sort of being her cheerleader. And I think that the point of that, I don't know because it wasn't clear, but the point of the episode was for Maggie is she's considering ending it all. And then by the end of the episode, she's turned it around. Everybody's gone. Her father's gone. Her sister's gone.
She's having a hard time. She's definitely having a hard time. Heck, she didn't even want to accept the water that Glenn offered her.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, no, I can't
and he's
anymore.
Like, drink the flipping water.
And then by the end, though, she's looking at Judith. And I really think that Judith, at first I would think, oh, having a baby could be a liability. I mean, I, of course, would want them to take care of that baby, but just thinking, oh my gosh, how are they going to take care of that baby? But now I think the baby might even be saving them.
Yes. Yes, I do too.
It keeps them going.
Yes. And Carl as well.
Carl too, yeah.
Yeah. And in fact, I was thinking about that. I was like, Maggie, you and Glenn got to procreate. You're gorgeous. Procreate and let's get this going. Let's get humanity back on track.
And at the end, when Maggie wakes up from a scene I'm sure we'll talk about, she's looking into Judith's eyes.
Yes.
And I think it's like, yeah, we got to keep going.
Is that the cutest baby, by the way? Oh
yeah,
my God.
Pretty cute. Okay, so then there's Sasha, the other person who lost someone closest to them. She responds with anger, which is kind of a reflection of how her brother used to be. He would be recklessly angry, and she's taking some of that on.
And she's being reckless.
Yeah. And then Michonne tries to calm her down and talk her out of it, and she looks like she's going to knife Michonne.
And she accidentally knifes Abraham.
But she looked like she was going to knife Michonne, and I'm like, that would be awesome. Do it. That'd be badass. It would suck for everybody involved, but it would be fun to watch. I think it'd be real quick. Michonne would be like, I'm glad she didn't do it, but there is a part of me that's like, oh, wow, that would have been amazing. And then finally there's Daryl, who seems to be floating away from a group like a magnet that's becoming weak, and they can all see that. They're like, well, I'll just go with you. And Rick's like, you don't stay gone too long, like forever. I felt really sad for him when he was burning himself.
Yes.
Carol told him, you have to let yourself feel it, which I think she means Beth's death.
Yeah.
And that's how he did it. And I think that's what burners do, and cutters. They feel emotionally numb, and so they want to feel something. And so I'm sure it's not exactly that simple, but anyway, he burns himself and it allows him to cry, which was a great scene, I thought. And I wonder if they'll have to keep applying that burn scar to his hand now for every episode.
It's the least of their worries. They've got disgusting.
I'm going to be watching for it.
Are you?
See if it's
okay.
They bother with it. So that's it. The 3 sad sacks.
Okay.
Jenny?
All right, number 4. I was pretty impressed by the costuming. There was this one scene in which you start with this close up on these really badass pair of boots. And I was just like, right, okay. Zombie apocalypse, you're going to be dressed like this. It's going to look awesome. And yeah, I mean, I gotta admit, they all look awesome in this post-apocalyptic zombie fashion in which they're wearing like boots that look like they're made for walking all over you. And
who was it? Do you remember?
It was Sonia.
Okay.
I actually thought it was Michonne. I was like, that's Michonne. And then
Sasha.
Sasha.
Yeah.
Sorry. And then it pulled back.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's Sasha.
Yeah.
But
that's Yulin Womble. Mm-hmm. She's amazing.
Yeah, but she's the customer is doing a good job in making it look badass, but at the same time pretty realistic. I mean, that at first I used to think like, oh, I don't know, they look a little too like drawn out of a comic book, like sexy and all that stuff. But then at the end, when Aaron came out looking like he walked out of a Doctor Who episode with like a scarf and a nice jacket, and
clean,
laundered,
and he was clean shaven and he had short hair.
And then that's when it really hit me like, yeah, they do look kind of like crap.
They do. Yeah, especially at the first scene, Lauren Cohen's face, Maggie's face, was grimy, and it looked like she'd been on the road for a couple of weeks. She was definitely dirty and dusty.
They look dirtier than usual.
They do.
They're like, take a couple more layers on there. Yulin Womble, who's the costume director, she told me in an interview at one of those panels that she wants it to be more Road Warrior-esque.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
I mean,
looking Mad Maxy there.
I think it would be cool to do that if you did it little by little over time, right. Because they can sort of let social norms go and do whatever they want, get mohawks.
Get a little crazier.
But it has to make sense. I mean, it's got to be like these boots are like have spikes because they're actually going to like kick the hell out of you.
The zombies. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, more practical stuff. Yeah, I mean, Merle can have his knife hand and somebody can have spiky boots.
Poor Merle. He can't have his knife hand anymore.
Your turn.
Did they chop it off and take it with him? It could have been a good, good
souvenir.
weapon.
Yeah, Daryl has it in his backpack.
Okay.
I wonder if he does have Merle's knife hand.
Cradles it every once in a while.
He's got everything in that backpack. Apparently he has tools to fix, music boxes in there.
He just blew off the dust.
Okay.
And it only worked on
scraped it out with a stick.
Key moment. So my number 4 was pretty simple. It's actually a shot, just a shot. Remember I mentioned that even the times of the episode where there wasn't much dialogue, it was pretty cool. Well, the one shot where they're on the road and it's sort of early on, they're walking on the road. It's a whole group of them, and it pulls back and it's the whole group, and they are shambling along like they're zombies. Mm-hmm. And then you can see there's actual zombies behind them. So there's the walkers behind them. And there they are. And it's sort of hard to tell the difference where the actual zombies are and where they are and where the two groups end. I thought it was a fabulous shot. And it was brief, and I thought it was really cool. It really stuck with me.
It's like that scene, I don't remember exactly, but in one of the Austin Powers movies where there's 2 golf carts chasing each other. And they're going really slow. It keeps looking back. And it's like they're coming up. Well, they're kind of hanging back. We can just keep walking. Chase. Don't worry about it. I mean, Michonne's being smart. She's like, save your energy. We don't need to take care of them right now.
Right.
But when I saw that, what went through my mind was the phrase, "We are the Walking Dead."
Yep.
Which is also a huge panel in the comic, which I'm sure Grace and Mr. Blog will talk about. But it had a different flavor here when Rick finally did say it than it does in the comic.
Interesting. I will listen to what
they say.
Mr. Blogg and Gracie Lou say.
Okay, my turn. So I covered the sad sacks. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the optimistic ones, the ones that are kind of keeping the group going. Rick continues to lead and show optimism. Like, I loved when he's looking back and he goes, "We're not at our strongest."
Yes.
It's like, you can say that.
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
But, he's like,
but he didn't say,
keep it positive.
Like, we're totally fucked up. That's such a manager way of saying it. We're not at our strongest, but I know we can do
just
better.
Pull together. Yeah.
We can beat next quarter's number.
And he's, as soon as the rain starts, they're all just basking in it. And then he's all right, let's get I think he was telling him to get containers.
Grab a container.
Yeah. So he's like, constantly the leader. But he still seems kind of messed up.
No kidding. What is his little speech about we're the Walking Dead? I was like, way to motivate people. We're not the Walking Dead. I get that it was it his uncle who was in World War II? His grandpa was in World War II. And I get it. You wake up and you assume that you're dead for the entire run of the war, and when you're not dead, you're not dead. But that's kind of a rough way to motivate people, to tell them, look, just assume you're dead.
I thought it was awesome.
Did you?
Yeah. And here's why.
I felt like it was not very motivating.
It reminded me of this other inspiring thing that I found on a blog a couple months ago, and I've kept it, that page on my phone open so I can go back and read it every once in a while. It said, most questions can be boiled down to 1, I'm scared, or 2, I don't know what to do. So if you're asking questions about your life, you can boil it down to I'm scared or I don't know what to do. He said the answers, 1, one day you'll be dead. 2, keep working. So the answer to I'm scared is one day you'll be dead, which basically means, if I'm scared to try this new thing, well, I'm going to be dead at some point. So fuck it. I'm going to go for it.
Yeah.
And so that's not exactly the flavor of what Rick was saying, but it's similar. It's this Buddhist way of thinking where you surrender to every moment without attachment or expectation of any particular outcome.
Okay.
It's just letting go of, like, we don't need to worry about anything in the future. Just be in the moment. I mean, I could see that being a really helpful way in a situation like that. But it's like, we're already dead, so don't worry about suicidal thoughts.
Daryl disagrees.
Daryl disagrees. That's true. And everyone's free to disagree. I mean, that's just what I thought about it. What?
I mean, well, I'm just thinking of the story that he told about his grandpa about he was the Walking Dead because he was waiting for for when his time in the war was over, and then he was alive again. So he's assuming he's planning on being alive later. And so,
well, Brick is sort of saying this is how you sort of trick the system. If you want to be alive, then you have to kind of let go of being alive. If you want it too bad, then you're going to mess yourself up.
Right.
Right. If you focus on that. So you just focus on the day to day and then you'll make it. And that's kind of what he was saying. It was a little dramatic. I mean, I could see, I understand what you're saying. It's like, oh, we're dead. Is that how we're supposed to be motivated? But I kind of get it. And I thought it was great. And that's why I say it's different than what was in the comic. Because in the comic, I think it was more like, oh, we're just, there's no point in being alive kind of thing. We're just shambling along. We're sad people. But here it was meant to try to keep them at peace and get them through it.
Well, I hope things get better quickly.
Okay, is it my turn?
Well,
no, I was in the middle of this one. Okay, I'm sorry. So Carol's the other one. Now, I think Carol handled this particularly well.
She did.
Right? She didn't show any signs of being depressed. And I think that's because she's been through so much already and she hit her low point a while back.
She did.
And also she doesn't need to worry about Tyrese changing his mind about killing her anymore.
She was there to help Glenn and tell him, comfort him and tell him that, she loved Beth too and you've got to feel it and work through it. And she was there to help Maggie when Maggie opened the door and saw the walker and Maggie said she had a gun and she didn't use it. And Carol said, what did she say? Something like, some people can't give up like us.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's lovely. It's a great thought.
Around motivating people.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, with Tyrese gone, like, judgment on what she did is it's like it's all over. It's like, oh, well, when the person I killed and the person who loved her, is also dead. I mean, like, what did I do wrong?
I was mostly kidding about that, but there may be some of that there with her, even if it's on a subconscious level. And then there's Glenn, who I think probably his love for Maggie's keeping him going. He comforts her and helps her with the trunk, and I think prevented her from killing herself in that moment. And then I think he said to Daryl, "We can make it together, but we can only make it together." Did he say that to Daryl? Somebody
said that to Daryl. I think we can make it together, but we can only make it together. Which is, I thought, that's a great.
Well, it sounds a lot like live together, die alone. Which made me wish that Jack was in this show.
We all hang together. Wasn't that the Revolutionary War?
Oh, is that like a saying from that?
Yeah.
I don't know. But this made me wish that Jack was on the show from Lost. I don't know why. Maybe also the rain had something to do with it. It felt Hawaii-like, I'm like, I'd like to see Jack and Hurley walking along with these guys right now. And just because Jack, when he said that line, it was, I hate to say this, but so much more powerful than when Glenn said a similar line. Glenn was it was kind of a quiet moment between Glenn and Daryl, and this was Jack trying to inspire this whole camp. But anyways, then finally, I liked how Abraham went and batted that water out of Eugene's hand, because it's like, okay, it looks like he still instinctively wants to take care of Eugene even after everything that happened, which was kind of nice, right?
But the note did say from a friend, so. Just kidding.
I probably would have tried. And then I'd probably be drinking myself silly, just like Abraham.
Yeah.
I was thinking that. And then Michonne, she's optimistic throughout the whole episode. Rick says, "This is the world." And she says, "This isn't the world. If you accept that this is the world, that's like giving up." So she hasn't given up at all.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Number three were the delicious dogs. I was thinking about it because here's like this group of dogs, like 4 dogs, came upon the group. And I kept thinking, like, what kind of story do these dogs have?
Yeah.
Like, they could have had their own little adventures, losing some of their own, gaining more along the way.
That could be some children's book.
And then it totally ends when they run into Rick's group.
That's right. Really sad.
It is sad. And finally we saw dogs, though. We
haven't seen a whole lot of dogs.
We saw the one dog that came up to the door of where Beth and Daryl in that house, but pretty much we haven't seen too many animals. It's nice to see animals again, for however briefly before they were blown away.
Well, dogs have always been the one thing that I've always wondered why there wasn't more of. Like, I always think in a post-apocalyptic world, there's going to be 2 things that I'm not seeing in The Walking Dead. One is dogs, and the other is bikes. Like, I'm not saying any bikes. People should be using bikes.
People should totally be using bikes. You're absolutely
this is
right.
Stuff she's wanted to say ever since we started this podcast.
And then I'm glad you said I'm gone.
Drop the mic.
I'm done. You're right.
But they looked kind of feral, didn't they?
Well, dogs get feral pretty fast.
They do, in the wild.
Well, once like a dog out there and then meets other dogs, they quickly form pack mentality. Sure. There's alpha dog, and then they will go after you. I mean, I lived in, where was it? South Dakota for a while, and they're like, okay, don't go walking after a certain time because there's some wild dogs or feral dogs out there, and they have a pack, and if you're by yourself, that's not very nice. So I'm not surprised at all that there would be packs of feral dogs running.
Think they were rabid?
No,
possibly.
No, if they're rabid, they won't last long, right? Because they'll just die rabies.
Okay.
No, they're just like dogs, going to do their dog life, nice pack, do everything for their pack. So I mean, it's kind of like Rick's group, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Rick's group went pretty feral, but I
mean, it's not nice to meet a pack of dogs. So that was probably the right ending.
It probably was, and honestly, they were starving too, so they had barbecue dog.
Yeah, I mean, somebody said, "Oh, I can't wait to hear what Karen." I think it was Mr. Blog. Karen's not going to like that scene, and I said, "I think she'll be okay with it."
Yeah,
because it's a necessity at that point, right?
I'm a vegetarian, but I'm telling you, in the zombie apocalypse, I'm probably eating dogs. I'm probably eating meat again because it's the only thing around. I mean, You know, I tell my husband all the time, if we're flying over the Andes and our plane crashes and I die, you could totally eat me, honey. I tell him that all the time.
Every day. When we wake up and then once before we go to bed. I know I could eat you. I know.
Stop with the eating, God.
Well, if I ever, this happens, I'll share my dog with you. I promise.
Oh, thanks, hon. That's
You know, the white meat, the dark meat.
You know what? The nice thing is they barbecued it, so
It looked delicious.
Yeah. I mean, nobody wants to eat dogs. Nobody
know-
wants to eat cats. Nobody wants to eat that stuff. I'm sure of it. But
Yeah, some people do.
I am kind of surprised
not a
that. I
lot.
mean, like, I can understand not wanting a pack of dogs chasing you or being out there, but like how a group might not have just one dog.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
Watchdog.
right,
Kind of
a
thing.
dog would be a great thing to have when you're, walking. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I think probably
Dogs
the
and bikes,
main reason
man.
why they don't do it is because it's hard. Maybe it's hard to train and film the dogs and stuff. They could probably do it, though. They had a whole show about
kidding
Lassie.
me?
Yeah, you're right.
Dogs
They
are
could
easier
do
to
it.
train than people, probably.
Get some more dogs. They should just have Walking Dead dogs. That's the
Walking
spin-off.
dogs.
Yeah, how dogs
walking
handle
dogs.
the zombie apocalypse. It can be a prequel showing this dog's adventure, and then the last scene will be what we just saw.
Yeah, with Rick's group. You know what grossed me out more than that was Daryl eating the worm. Although I'm down with eating worms too. I'm sure.
Walking Dead dogs.
I know it's great. The walking dogs. I'm sure I would eat worms too.
Just for the hell of it.
No, because
We'll go get some. Okay, well, I love that scene because Eugene said, I truly do not know if things could get worse. And then, whoa, 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 whoa. But it turned out that was a gift. That was things getting better.
That was things
because
getting better.
they were about to die of starvation.
if not for Sasha, itchy trigger fingers Sasha.
Those dogs might have saved their lives. And I was also thinking, I wonder if it's consciously or not a callback to season 3, episode 1, where they had the dog food Carl found.
Oh, yeah.
And Rick said, we're not going to eat that. We haven't sunk to that level.
Yeah.
Now they're eating dog. I think that's a level even below eating the dog food, I would say. If I had a dog and a dog food, I would probably eat the dog food before I'd kill a dog.
I would never. Yeah, sure, sure. But if you're asking me what would taste better, why are we even talking about this? I would have to
Why
say
not? I think it's
barbecue
great.
dog would taste better
Would
than dog
taste
food.
better, but let's say you're desperate.
Do I have
and
A1 sauce?
You have A1 sauce.
Okay, then.
You drink all the A1 sauce, and now you're still hungry, and you know that you're gonna get food, the next day, but you're not gonna last a day without eating something. So you do you eat the dog food or do you kill a dog?
Oh, I
and
eat the dog food for sure.
Yeah, so
I totally
that's what I'm
do.
saying. So they're more desperate now than they were. Oh, that's all I'm saying. than they were in that
Yeah, if they
episode.
came
They're
across a
hungrier.
can of dog food now,
They'd be-
they would be like, "Oh my god, dog food! Thank God!"
Yeah, Rick
Yes,
would go over to
you're
Carl
right.
and go, "Carl, give me that," and then he would eat it all.
Yes.
Wait. I remember that episode. They ate an owl instead. So what are you saying? I'm willing to eat this owl instead of like dog food?
Well, bird, it goes like this: bird, then dog food, then dog. Dog.
I'm with you. I think it goes dog food,
That's because you're a vegetarian.
but I like birds and dogs a lot, and
Okay.
I like bird dogs.
You know, people were rolling their eyes at Rick at that point. I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
I was.
and our listeners are rolling their eyes at us right
No,
now.
they're not. I'm going to keep going, by the way. So if you had a bird, a dog food, and
And-
a dog, which one would you eat first?
okay. One, I'm lazy, so I'm gonna eat the dog food because all I have to do is open the freaking can.
What if Daryl
Oh,
catches
you gotta
the-
like defat
what
the
if-
bread and
Right.
roast it. You gotta find fuel. I mean, come on.
What if you know that they can do that?
Well, I'll still eat the dog food first because I'm still lazy, and then later when I have energy, then I'll like roast up the bird and the dog.
Okay.
Let's
And
say
you'll eat them all. In other words.
oh yeah,
I'm not.
it's a party.
I'm not even hungry, but this is just so good.
This is it.
It's gonna go bad. It's not like there's any refrigeration. You gotta eat it now.
You
Salt it
do.
up. Okay.
Carpe diem. Where were we?
I don't know. I think it's your turn, Jenny.
No, I already talked about the dogs. It's
Number
someone
three.
else's number
Oh
three.
yeah, my turn.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I don't know if I can top that one. So I thought this was a great Lauren Cohen episode. And Lauren Cohen's character, Maggie, it really showed the pain of what she's lost. Basically, everybody in her family, not even basically everyone in her family, she has lost everyone in her family. And she's struggling to find a reason to go on. She has Glenn, so yay, she has Glenn. She has Glenn, baby. That's what I'm talking about. But she had some amazing scenes. She the from the beginning, we already talked about a couple of her amazing scenes. The beginning when the walker comes up behind her and the look on her face, like she's just having a hard time even motivating to get up and kill the walker. And then when she finds the girl who kind of looks like Beth in the back of the car, and then she finds the girl in the barn. There was some amazing scenes of her journey throughout it. I thought it was a great Maggie episode. She hasn't had a lot of episodes that focused on her and her pain, so I loved it.
Yeah, when we first interviewed her, it was actually me and Grace. I was listening back to some of that recently, asking her, do you there's some darkness ahead for Maggie in the comic, which is kind of paralleling what's going on right now. Do you let that inform your performance? And she said, not really, because Maggie's not in that place right now.
Right.
But anyway, we talked about it. So now it's interesting because here she is and she's doing a great job with it.
She was on The Talking Dead afterwards that I watched, and Chris Hardwick asked her, you've actually gotten kind of some criticisms. Your character has had some criticism for not being more concerned about Beth.
Yeah.
Until you absolutely knew that Beth was alive. And she said, to her, she was convinced that Beth was dead. There was no chance of her being alive. And that's what...
I don't buy it still. Because they didn't show her being upset about that fact.
Right.
There's some moments of her laughing and being happy, and never any moment of her going, oh man, I miss my sister, or it's so sad my sister died. So I think that was an error in...
Yeah.
They should have had a moment of it, and then that would have been enough.
Right.
Something.
Right. Or maybe...
It's not her fault.
No. Or maybe the writers always intended for her to have hope alive, that maybe...
Well, you just told me she said she thought Beth was dead.
That was her opinion.
Oh, I see.
I don't know.
No. I think
right.
I read that later. One of the writers, I think Gimple said that, or I forget who. Anyway.
Well, it seems like they're just trying to backtrack and try to cover it, because I do recall the episodes after they all got split up after the governors attacked that she was just concerned about Glenn. She's like, "Where's Glenn? Where's Glenn?"
Yeah.
She never seemed to be like, "And Beth." Where's Glenn? And Beth.
Yeah, and Beth.
No, and they're saying that's because she thought Beth was dead, but then she should have shown some sadness about that.
Or thought Glenn was dead,
Yeah, but she apparently didn't. Yeah, she just had this sort of irrational, turns out it was true, but at the time she didn't have any way of knowing, so it was irrational faith that Glenn was alive and had written Beth off. So what's up with that? Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Okay, my number 3 is upbeat moments. So this is supposed to be the big depressing episode, but there were plenty of upbeat moments. In the beginning, Rick looked up at this practically cloudless sky and says, it could rain. And then it did rain. And that was an amazing moment. And then the music box worked. That was a little like, oh, cool. I've already mentioned Glenn, Michonne, Rick, and Carol were like cheerleaders, and they helped the group keep going. And the dogs, which we already talked about, was great. And then Aaron at the end, maybe.
Yeah.
If he's friendly.
We
what
don't
do you
know.
think?
I love that he said, yeah, I get it, stranger danger. Which is exactly what I'm thinking. I'm like, stranger danger, don't trust them. They've been burned so many times.
Yeah. They had nice music when they were walking into Terminus, too.
Yes. It's hard for me to trust anyone at this point. Right. It really is. But there's reason to believe that maybe he's onto something. After all, he knew Rick's name. And so maybe, here's my completely uninformed theory based on nothing, people. Absolutely nothing. Maybe he's somehow been in touch with Morgan. Yeah.
I assume, yeah.
Yeah, and maybe Morgan said, hey, there's this guy, Rick.
Because what else could it be? I don't see any other...
Otherwise, it's just creepy, which was how I interpreted it. Like someone coming up to you and saying like, oh yeah, how's that, red underwear working out? And you're like,
Yeah, exactly. Totally. I don't want anyone knowing about
that. That was kind of a lost moment, because they did stuff like that in Lost all the time, where they leave out pieces of information that you'd think you should probably say that you learned that from Morgan, but it's more dramatic if you don't.
Or maybe have Morgan, instead of saying from a friend, saying, hey, here's the water from Morgan, or if it is from Morgan, or have the guy say, hey, Morgan, who knows Rick from back, explain yourself. But, maybe he will next week. Maybe.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
Your turn.
Number 2. This is one I kind of made up just because we need to find five, and I could only think of 4. But anyways, so it's kind of the external versus internal journey. Here's my liberal arts education coming out. Usually the first half of the season was very external journey. They went long distances, had lots of adventures, had a lot of conflicts. This one was very much internal, everyone going through their little crises. A lot of them at the same time, like, group dynamics wise, when a large percentage of your group is depressed, that's going to drag the group down. So I just thought it was, as you mentioned, it adds to the diversity of the episodes out there. Yes, you can have some high energy episodes, and this was a lower energy, more mental, emotional episode. But they had 2 in a row. So I was a little kind of like, come on, should have spaced this one out.
Yeah, it was rough.
I can see that. But I think once the season's done with that, it would all feel right, because it would be tough to have 2 in a row because in my opinion, they're trying to get them to their lowest point. And so if you have, Tyrese dies, and then there's a fun adventure, and then everyone's depressed.
Yeah.
So it's tough to do that. I mean, I understand what you're saying.
This
and I
makes
think
sense.
People who aren't looking ahead like that, or they might just think, man, this show is too bleak for me, and stop watching. But I think by the end of the season, it'll be like, okay, I get it now. I get why they did that.
My number 2 was the mystery that was set up in this episode. And I love that they're doing this. I love that the water on the road from a friend. That's crazy. And I also love the mystery of Aaron. And we've kind of discussed it, but I think it's great. It's definitely a cliffhanger, and I love it when they end on a cliffhanger. So I'm in. I can't wait for next week.
Me too. I liked the way they ended that. I think they needed to, because what I was just saying about people thinking, wow, this is too bleak, I'm not going to watch anymore. Hopefully some of those people are like, what was that all about?
Yeah.
Maybe let's see what that means.
Yeah.
My number 2 was just the whole thing about We Are the Walking Dead, which we already talked about.
Okay, number 1. So my number 1 was, one thing that I really like about The Walking Dead is how once in a while they're like, every zombie has a story. They do so well these scenes in which it's they don't tell, they show.
Yeah.
And so like the zombie that was in the trunk, right?
Yeah.
With a single visual.
Yep.
Someone's tied up and a zombie in the trunk.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's already so much being told right there.
Right. What do you think happened to her?
It was pretty fucked up, whatever it was.
Yeah. Agreed.
I mean, I think either she was somebody's friend, but they just wanted to keep her
in case there's a cure.
Yeah, maybe.
Right,
or,
tied up with a gag.
Yeah, so she doesn't bite anybody or harm anybody else in the meantime.
I'm thinking that's the least likely.
I'm thinking more that it's already a fucked up situation in the live world in which they got a pretty girl in the back of their trunk. Something happened, and they're dead. I mean, and now she dies in the back of their trunk. Turns into a zombie. And the look on Lauren Cohen's face, you could tell she's just like, this is so fucked up.
This is so fucked up.
Yeah.
Right.
This world is so fucked up. I mean, I don't think she was going to climb in. I think she was just kind of like when the world keeps disappointing you and you're just kind of like,
this. That's exactly right.
I mean, that's exactly the kind of thing that would make you go, I should just climb in there with her. Because look what happens in this world. Okay, your turn, Karen.
Okay, so my number 1 was the final scene where Maggie and Sasha are taking in the sunrise, and I thought it was really beautiful. And they're both talking about the people that they lost, that they loved, and they're talking about sort of making it and staying alive, and that's the hard part. And then Maggie pulls out the music box, and it still doesn't work, and they laugh because, God, what else can go wrong, right? And it's absolutely gorgeous, and the two of them in that sunlight, that final glow, and they're both looking so beautiful and sad. And then the stranger comes up, and the stranger startles them and says, hey, I didn't mean to interrupt, my name is Aaron. And then they jump up with their guns drawn, and he says, oh, hey, I'm a friend, and I'd like to talk to the person in charge, Rick. And I love how perplexed Maggie and Sasha look. And Sasha, they say at the same time, I think Maggie says, "Who are you?" And Sasha says, "Why?" And Aaron says, "I have good news," which is a crazy thing to say. And at that very moment, the music box starts working. And then the shot of the two of them looking over at the music box, and it's framed so beautifully in the sunrise. And they've got their guns drawn, crazy looks on their faces, looking over at the music box, cut and scene. It was brilliant. I thought it was one of my favorite final scenes.
Yeah, I liked it too. It fit in the episode really well because there were a few moments in the episode that felt like maybe the hand of God or, something happening just in time, like the dogs, the storm,
right,
the music box. And so that leads me to my number one, which is the whole storm.
Yep.
First off, I think my favorite scene was when they're all in the barn and Daryl goes over to the doors because they're flapping, looks through and sees the lightning flickering and the zombies flickering and the lightning coming at them. It's like, oh my God.
Yes.
Because even though I liked this episode a lot, I was sort of like, it's very low key. There was some good zombie fighting in there, but mostly it's and then that was like a total jolt, like, holy shit. Then I love seeing them all push the doors together and try to keep it closed. And I was thinking, man, somebody should be looking for another way out of there. But
I know.
They were
Loft.
Yeah, but they were all pulling together, and I thought that was great. Even the sad sacks were in there pushing as hard as they could.
Right.
But then the transition to everything being at peace and Maggie waking up and seeing Judith, and they didn't really show how you got from one to the other.
What happened?
And I thought maybe it was a dream, but I thought, I don't think Walking Dead would do that. I think, then they go outside and they see the tree has fallen and the zombies are underneath it. And it looks like what happened was the storm kind of took care of the zombies.
Storm by the way, did you take a look and see in the distance up about 50 feet, maybe higher, maybe 100 feet up, there was a zombie impaled in the tree?
Okay. So it was like a hurricane that somehow didn't bother that barn. But it's an act of God.
Yeah.
That's
it's an act of God.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure whether it was a dream or not because, part of me was like, okay, one, the chances that the tree's just going to take out every single zombie perfectly without them having to go out and clean it up a little bit is a little, unrealistic. So I couldn't tell. I was like, is this a dream?
Yeah.
I wish they would have made it a little, because I don't think it's supposed to be ambiguous. So
right, but it is TV, so I will give them that.
Yeah. And I like the idea, even though it's kind of unbelievable. But it was a Deus Ex Machina, which this episode had a few of those, so it's okay.
Right.
If they just had two, then it would seem like, oh, wait, you're having two of those, but since I had like four, then it's like, okay, there's just a bunch of them. That's how this episode works. Yeah, you want to do your notes?
I actually don't have any notes.
Okay.
I talked about all my notes during the regular episode.
Okay, just a few. They mentioned it was 60 miles to Washington at the beginning of this episode, but they made some ground since then, so I assume they're close. I was wondering what they feed that baby.
Quiet juice of some sort because she's really well behaved.
Mashed up worms.
And quiet juice.
When Gabriel threw his priest garment, I don't know what that thing's called. Do you?
His collar. His
collar
white collar.
Into the fire. I was like, oh, he suddenly feels more like a real person,
Yeah.
I like that scene.
Where he talks about the hair shirt?
No, the scene where he talked about the hair shirt, I felt just like Maggie. Like, shut up, dude. You don't get to talk to me as if you're a religious person that's going to comfort me because I don't respect you. Get off it. And then when he took off the collar, I think he sort of realized the same thing. Like, okay, this is sort of a pretense at this point.
Yeah.
I don't get to be this. I mean, he'll probably go back to it, but it just felt right in that moment. And it also made him seem less like a stereotype and more like a real person for a second. And then I loved when he was crying in the rain too. Then let's see, Carol gave Daryl Beth's knife.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, there's another heirloom object.
Yes.
There's going to be a lot of those floating around.
Yes.
Like Herschel's watch. I liked how they're mostly, they're all slow and listless out of depression and hunger. But I don't know about them sort of Aikidoing the zombies. What did you think about that?
I loved it. They didn't seem like they were going into Aikido so much as they were just sort of like using, just sort of pushing them off and sort of saving their energy.
That's what Aikido is. You take someone's energy that's coming at you and you deflect it and use it against them.
I loved it. I thought it was cool and clever.
Okay.
And
you know what? You're right. It's good. It's good. But one thing I didn't get is just because what's her name, Sasha decides to knife one of them. Why did they have to give up that plan?
Hard to know.
They could have still kept trying it with the other ones.
It was a little unclear. I will give you that for sure.
Yeah. I really liked when Rick said growing up is getting used to the world, so it's easier on the kids.
Yeah. But
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with Michonne too, that maybe they shouldn't just accept that as their world, but it makes sense that it would be easier on the kids, although Carl might turn into some like...
psycho?
Yeah, Mad Max dude.
No. He's a great kid.
So that's it.
Groovy, let's listen.
All right, let's get into listener responses. You go first.
All right. Samuel Beasy says, PETA is going to be pissed.
And Tanya Breen writes, I'm an animal rights activist, but I understood the episode. I'm not offended. Real life is a billion times worse for animals. They did a humane killing in the scene and nothing too graphic. Also, PETA is not what you think. They kill more pets than you can imagine. They're terrible. Local shelters / grassroots organizations, way to go to really help animals. Now, PETA, remember, that was the listener writing it, not my opinion.
Not necessarily the opinions of anyone affiliated with this podcast.
Yep.
Vanessa Abello Powell says, "Where's Morgan?"
Craig Williams says,
Well
that
said.
was a common opinion, by the way.
Nancy Wolf said, I lasted 30 minutes before I paused to see how much longer I had to sit there. Another comment here voiced how I've been feeling for a while to a degree. Hate watcher. Wow. I try to find something good, but overall it's been more soap opera than I'd like.
Jack Gliciano says, last week was the trip. This week was the slow face planting. The show face planting.
The show face planting. Last week was a trip. This week was the show face planting. Wow.
You know what? I totally disagree with that, but I love it.
That's such a funny comment. It was great.
Eric Sherman says, loved this episode, especially Rick's speech.
Caleb Stoddard writes, man, what a good episode tonight. Seeing everyone on the road deteriorating is a great realistic aspect because we always see the group being tough and overcoming.
Well, I kind of agree with that because you're supposed to go through this like traumatic part and then trauma becomes your new normal and then it just becomes boring. So maybe they need to go through this and then soon they're just going to be like, yeah, someone died.
Yeah. Reading the comic and now watching the show, I've always felt like our journey is similar to the characters because when people die off so much, it has less impact. Although now that I'm saying that out loud, it still's pretty impactful.
Yeah.
Depending on who it is and how it's shown. I mean, not as much though. Like Lori, when Lori died, I was like, oh my God. And then when Tyrese died, I was like, man, this is sad, but not the same.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that. Once, Tyrese dies, and it's kind of like back when you had 10 kids and 6 died, you're like, I got 4. Now everyone just has like 1 kid, and then, they break their leg, and you're like, holy crap.
You're so sentimental. I love that.